Hello there, and welcome to my slow tutorial on how to set up uMod with the Rocket League after the tournaments update in April 2018. If you want a quick step-by-step in 40 seconds how to set this all up, you can click on the link in the description. There's a very quick version of this, but if you want to stay and learn a little bit more or need more assistance in setting it up, then this is the right video for you. The first thing we gotta do is we have to download uMod. How will you do this? In the description you will also find another link to my personal file archive. This is the mega link in the description, and when you click on this you will be brought to this mega link directory, and this has a bunch of stuff of things that I have created. So if you want to use my textures in particular, you can do so, because everything I have done you can find here. But also you will find a readme text file which gives you instructions on how to set everything up in text form. But also I make this video, so obviously this is a little bit redundant, but this also includes the download link for uMod. And we just paste that in. This is the download link. And what you have to do is you have to download a very specific version, namely uMod Alpha v2r49. Why this particular version? When I started using uMod, I followed other people's tutorials, and they always used this particular version because they said this is the most stable version. And honestly, to this day, I have used this version, and indeed, for me at least, this version is very stable, both FPS friendly, and personally for me it hasn't crashed really at all. But note here, I guess it depends on your PC structure. You know, your PC might be capable of handling this very easily, your PC might not be capable of handling this very easily. Whether you crash or whether you get FPS drops, I guess I can't really help you with that, honestly. I think I'm quite lucky that I actually, can use that without any FPS drops or crashing. But for me personally, this version has served me really well, and I don't have any problems with it. But obviously I can't promise you that you won't get FPS drops or your game might not crash. I cannot guarantee this. But for me personally, it has worked over the years, and I would suggest downloading this version too. Just test it. Nothing will happen if you at all experience FPS drops or crashes for that matter. I guess you just can't use uMod then. But honestly, I mean, in my experience, it has worked quite well. But anyway, if you want to test it, here we go. uMod version Alpha v2r49. So there's a bunch of versions, and we have to look for uMod Alpha v2r49. So we download this one, click on it, and then mostly it's probably on open with, and then you have you need to have a specific program. You have to have WinZip or WinRAR, but actually I think even if you don't have these programs, I think Windows by default has its own archive program where you can extract files. So what you got to do is you save the file. It's very tiny, and then you open it in your downloads folder, and there you have it. This is uMod, but it is in a WinRAR file in my case. So what can I do? I can press Ctrl and X. This is the cut option. You can also copy it, it doesn't matter, and you can paste this wherever you want. So I paste this personally in my D drive right here. So Ctrl V, and there we have it. You can paste this wherever you want. It does not matter where this folder is located. What you got to do next is you right click it and you click on either extract files or extract here. I know when I click on extract here, it will just extract this folder. This is the content of this archive file. So if we now refresh it and we think, oh shit, where's uMod? Right here, it has been aligned with all the other folders, and we can click on it. So now you see a bunch of stuff, but most of this is actually quite redundant. What you gotta do first is you have to open uMod. So this is how uMod looks, and this looks quite daunting, but this actually doesn't really matter. What you gotta do first is you have to click on main, and then you have to make sure that use global hook is not enabled. You have to make sure that it is disabled. There have been other tutorials in the past that suggest you enable this. There's been lots of mishaps going on with uMod with every new Rocket League update. That's why I titled this one Post Tournaments Update. Because, just a little history lesson, with the Starbase Arc update, uMod would crash, or the game would crash when you had uMod running and you would go to your options in the game. All of a sudden, it worked perfectly well, and then with the Starbase Arc update, all of a sudden it crashed when you clicked on options. Then came the Autumn update with Farmstead, and it didn't crash anymore when you clicked on options. Problem was, it didn't load any textures anymore, so it was completely useless until, I think, User Eternity was it, who came up with a very weird suggestion, but it actually worked. So you had to disable global hook, you had to paste in a certain DLL into your Rocket League directory, and you had to have your world detail always on performance, otherwise it would also crash when you clicked on options. And with the world detail set to performance, and with that method I told you about 2 seconds ago, I played for lots of months. So I always played with a performance world detail and with that method. Little did I know, with the tournaments update, you actually can use uMod quite similarly to how you used it the very first time when we figured out how uMod was working. So you still have to do 1 or 2 steps, which aren't really hard, but the world detail can now be set to high quality again, and you can also click on options without the game crashing. And I figured that out 3 days ago. Normally with every update I tested it, but with every update prior to this tournaments update, uMod was crippled more and more, so I didn't even bother testing it. I just thought, oh yeah, it would probably crash on options, blah blah blah. So I tested it and it actually worked again. So hey, we can play on a higher world detail, and if you already play on a performance world detail, then well you can do so too. This doesn't matter. So what you gotta do, you have to make sure use global hook is disabled, and then you gotta add the game. So you click on add game, and normally this will not bring you to the Rocket League directory. It will bring me to the Rocket League directory because I already added it, but your Rocket League directory is probably located under your C drive, program files, x86, Steam, steamapps, common, Rocket League, binaries, Win32, and there we have it. Now, your Rocket League directory could also be located on your D drive or your E drive or your F drive. This depends wholly on you, how you named your partitions and where you installed them. Technically, you could also have installed Steam on the C drive and installed Rocket League on the D drive. Then probably the difference would be, obviously, that you would change the C to a D, but your Steam folder might be called Steam Library. The Steam Library folder is created when your root path of Steam is located differently on a different partition. Like I said, if you had installed Steam on your C drive, but then decided, oh no, my C drive is quite full, so I want to install Rocket League on my D drive, then this particular folder Steam might be called Steam Library. Other than that, C drive is the default path, so this might be the exact path. Otherwise, you just have to make sure and find your Rocket League directory. And then you click on the Rocket League exe and then you click on open, and I get an error because it says game has already been added. You probably will not get this error, obviously, because you will add it for the first time. So these are the 2 steps you have to take. Again, main, make sure use global hook is disabled, and add the game. So now you go back to your uMod folder. This is where you have extracted it, uMod, and then only this particular DLL is very important. This DLL makes uMod work. This DLL is called D3D9. What you gotta do is you copy that one, Control C. That's why you don't see me right click and copy, because I use my keyboard, obviously. So Control C, and then you go back to the same drive where your Rocket League is installed. I have a shortcut here because I did do that quite often before, and it is the same path you used when you added the game in uMod. For me it is C, program files, Steam, steamapps, common, Rocket League, binaries, Win32, you can see the exes right here, and then you paste the DLL in here. And that is basically it. This is how you set up uMod. Now, what you gotta do to use uMod with Rocket League. Obviously, you need to remember that you always have to open uMod before you launch Rocket League. Will something bad happen if you do it the other way around? No. The only thing that will happen or won't happen is when you boot Rocket League and then boot uMod, your custom textures that you put in just won't load. So you then have to close Rocket League and then open uMod. So you can leave uMod open the whole day. Also, uMod on the taskbar, if you have a black taskbar and you don't change your uMod icon, it's black on black, so it's hard to see. Yeah, either you have it open the whole day or you just close it and then it's closed. But always when you decide, oh, now I want to play Rocket League, just open uMod first and then boot Rocket League. This message right here you can wholeheartedly ignore. This is an Alpha Console message that basically reads, Alpha Console is not up to date with the Rocket League version. You don't have Alpha Console, and if you have, you know this message. If you don't have Alpha Console, you can ignore this message completely. The reason I had that on so long is normally I click on yes and then it's gone. So if you don't have Alpha Console, you won't even get this message. If you have Alpha Console, it's probably because the Alpha Console version is not up to date yet with the newest Rocket League update, so that's not an issue. So now we are in the game, and as you can see, uMod is open and we can click on options, and also our world detail is on high quality, so that is pretty nice. Personally, what I find important is that I play on borderless. The reason for playing in borderless is this: I can just tab out very instantly without any lag. If I were to change it to full screen, you see there's a little bit of wobbliness, and then when I tab out, the FPS try to keep up, and yeah, that's not really that great. So personally I play on borderless. There we go. And then I can just easily tab out. I have heard that the borderless mode might also give FPS drops even if it's 1 FPS or so. It all depends, you guys. You know, I'm not the messiah that can tell you, oh yeah, this works 100%. This is exactly how you set up uMod and how to use it. But, you know, if you have FPS drops, I guess that's just tough luck, honestly. You know, I don't want to say, you know, my PC is the best, because it surely isn't. But for some reason it works for me. Hoji tried it, and for him, you know, he had like FPS drops of 1. You know, they dropped to 59, but sometimes certain FPS, it's hard to say FPS drops. Certain FPS drops are more noticeable than others. But personally, I mean, I'm used to this. I don't have any FPS drops really, other than the menu. The menu is quite laggy, I think, in Rocket League. If you look at it, and the FPS go down quite high. Look at this. But I don't think this is a uMod issue. That's a Rocket League issue. Yeah. So now, how do we import textures? Good question, Jerry. I'll tell you. So the first thing you gotta do is you have to have textures. I might show you a video on how to create your own textures at one point, but this video right here suggests that you already downloaded textures. How do you download textures? Like I said, I have my mega archive here with everything that I've done, and here you can find a whole bunch of stuff. So for example, balls. I have categories: esports, boom, esports teams. If I go back to balls, I have just a couple nations, because I did have a lot of nations earlier, but I redid all of them, and now I only have like 7. I have other balls. I've made a baseball, some stuff, and my Psionics ball that I have updated and also put out in various colors. So a message about the balls. Haha, ball skins. Hey hey hey. So I haven't heard that one before at all. So how do you download files? So you can technically download the whole folder. Download and whatever you want, download, standard download a zip. Honestly, I don't know what a standard download does when you download multiple files, but I personally download it as a zip file, because everything is under one zip then. But you can also, if you decide, oh, I don't want to download so much, you know, I just want to download the XL ball in gray, then you can click on it, and I have put in a preview of every ball that I've made and every item that I've made. And then you can also change the view. You can have a list view, and then you see there's 2 DDS files. That's a JPEG file. You can download all of this, but if you only want the XL ball, you can click on one file and then hold Control on your keyboard and then click the other file, and therefore you have these 2 selected. Then you right click, download as zip, and it will download rather quickly because the files are not that huge. Excuse me. Oh, look at this. 42 megabytes. I mean, you'll do that once. You browse through, decide what you want. Maybe you want the whole archive, whatever. Then you click on Save File again. There we go. There we have it. And then you can right-click, extract here. Then you have the 2 files. So, how do you use them in the game? Very easy. You just do this. You tab out, and then you have the DDS files here. And then you mark them both, and then you just drag them. There's uMod right here. And then you just drop them in this white area. Boom. Here they are. And now we have this XL ball. So, a very brief reminder about my ball textures in particular. My ball textures are made in a resolution of 2048 times 2048. This means if you want to use my stuff, and especially my ball textures, you will have to have your texture detail, this is this one, on high quality. Anything below that will not show my custom ball textures. The reason is because Rocket League lowers the resolution of the file. This means it has separate files for separate settings. For high quality and the ball texture in particular, it uses a 2048 times 2048 file. For quality, performance, or high performance, it uses a 1024 times 1024 file. So if you already play on this, my ball textures will not work. You will have to have your texture detail on high quality. And the reason why I don't offer quality textures is simply because if you look at all of this here, it would just take me too much time to downscale all of these, and this includes like these many balls and such. So oh, this is actually the banners, but still, you know what I mean. There's a lot of stuff in here, yeah, I just can't be bothered to export them. So what you can actually do, if you have a DDS plugin for your GIMP or your Photoshop, you can download my ball textures, then open them with Photoshop or GIMP, downscale them to 1024 times 1024 and export them and as DDS files, and then I will have an ID in my README for the 1024 times 1024 ball. So in that way you just rename your exported file with that ID, and then you should be able to use my ball textures on a lower texture detail. But currently I only have supported for high quality textures. This only includes the ball textures, not the boost gauges, not the banners, not my buttons. You can use them on any texture detail, but the ball textures unfortunately are only on high quality. Now, if you would like to add a boost gauge to this, for example, I will now not download another file. I will go to my archive because I have everything here. So I go to boost gauges and I say, okay, give me the XL boost gauge. So there's also 2 files, and then you just drag them and drop them, and as you can see, the XL, I'm using keyboard right now. Hello, boost, fill up. So this is XL, for example. This is just an example, you guys. Okay, now for example, now I want to add a banner. How do you do this, you ask? Well, Johnny, that's actually pretty easy. You just go to the XL folder. Obviously, if you go to here, banners, and then esports, and then come on, I can't read Excel. There's a preview picture, and then this is only one file. My banners only have one file, and so this is the DDS file I need. So you drag and drop it, and boom, look at that, we have a banner. So how do people see the stuff you use? They don't see anything. Everything for them is default. As you could see, when I would remove my textures again, I had the bronze banner. So you will also see the bronze banner. Now, here's the thing. I used the bronze banner because I thought this is the most common banner people have that supports full color. The reason being is that, oh yeah, by the way, oh shit. Okay, before I explain that, let me tell you what, okay? This is how you remove textures, alright? So, you right click on this thing here, single textures, right click it, then remove, package, boom, everything's gone, and then you right click on this white area again, anywhere, and click on update, and then you see everything is back to normal. So, why did I choose the bronze banner? That means, for example, just imagine, this is completely you know, out of this world, because this will never happen. Just imagine like 50,000 people would use uMod and they would use my textures. And they would use my banners as well. Then you probably will see this bronze banner a whole lot more often, because everybody's using the bronze banner, although technically they use a custom texture. But why did I use the bronze banner? I did use the bronze banner because when you... Alright, let me explain like this, okay? We have to go back to the menu. This is the slow version, you guys. So, the reason I choose the bronze banner is because, for example, if you take Rocket, then you have this option, change color. So, these are color filters that are laid on top of the layer. This means the banners I make all have different colors. They are full color. When I were to change the Rocket banner, or for example the default banner, actually I don't even know what it's called. I doubt it's called default, is it? What's the actual default banner? The Rocket League banner that everybody has. Standard, there we go. You can change that in color as well. And what this does, unfortunately, is that if I have, you know, lots of colors and I don't want them to be changed, all of these filters ruin this. So what I had to do, I had to find a banner that doesn't allow for you to change the color, therefore it shows the full color that you have made in your editing program. What you will find though, in the README, when you download this from my archive here, this README includes, when I go to this includes a disclaimer for these banners. This is the exact same explanation, but I also have put in other IDs for other banners that also don't support color change. So you could also do the following. For example, if you are a gold player and want to show your gold banner, then you can just copy this right here. Actually, before we do that, let me download a banner so I don't rename something from my own stuff. So we go to esports and go for Evil Genius now, and then we download this one. This is a single file, so we can have the standard download. Is it still download? No, there we go. No, sorry. So there we go. So you see this ID, for example, ends on 3CE, and 3CE is this one, the bronze banner. So for example, if you want the gold banner, all you gotta do is you copy this, go to your download folder or where you have it stored, and just click on it once, or right click and then go to rename, and then just paste it in, and now we have the gold banner. So when we put that in right here, then we see the bronze banner is untouched, but when we go to the gold banner right there, then we have this. So this gives you the opportunity. Technically you can also put in different banners. For example, you could rename all your banners, and then I could put in the XL banner, which has the bronze ID. So we have this. Oh, that's my inventory. So we have this banner. The gold banner is now Evil Geniuses, and the bronze banner is now XL. So you can basically hook that up to all of these banners, as well as this RL Esports banner. That also works. If you want, you know, if, for example, if a friend tells you, when you use textures and a friend tells you, oh, I'm so sick of you using your stupid bronze banner, it looks so bland and disgusting, and you have this banner, for example, you can use that, or you can actually use bronze, gold, diamond, champion, silver, platinum, whatever. Actually, I think you can even use the dragon banners besides this one. This champion dragon banner especially has animations, and this consists of like 5 different files, so this is why I can't touch this. But yeah, I will probably give you the IDs in the future, so when you see this video, these IDs have been added for the regular dragons, except for the champion dragon. So you have a little bit of leeway on what banner ID you want to choose, because maybe the players you play with get sick of you seeing the bronze banner. So what else is there to tell you? Yeah, can you remove certain files but leave other files? Technically yes, but also no. It's weird, right? Because, for example, as you can see from the downloads, this is the Evil Geniuses banner we just downloaded, and the XL banner is right here. You can tell by the actual path. Normally I thought there's no way you can figure that out, because these have these IDs here, but actually you can figure out from what path they are. Problem is though, for example, this is the Evil Genius banner. If you want to remove this, you can't remove the package, obviously, but apparently you can remove the selected package. Click on it and update, nothing happens. So that really doesn't work. What I do is I have a all-in-one folder. I have one ball in there, one boost gauge, one banner. I actually made PS3 buttons for when I use a PS3 controller but emulate an Xbox controller. I've made PS3 buttons, and I think the Manfield ground, I added it a bit. So what I have here is my all-in-one folder. That means, for example, let's remove these and go back to my, not inventory, my bronze banner. So, and put all of my stuff in. So I click into the folder, and then I press Control and A. This marks everything in the folder, and then I just drag and drop the same. Normally the amount of files, you see this 43, you think, holy shit, this probably lags your game out. For me it doesn't. It doesn't at all. The amount of files I have here don't really matter, honestly. If your game at all experiences frame drops after using uMod, it's probably uMod itself, not the amount of files technically. Unless you maybe have 1,000 files, I don't know. But honestly, for these amount of files, for me it doesn't. It might, you know, might be a little bit FPS droppy for you. I wish you so much luck, you know, I wish you so much luck, because custom textures are so much fun. So I put all of my stuff in, and when I put that out, you see I have everything in one folder, and there's no way for me to know where this comes from and what this is. You know, obviously I know personally these little ones are probably the buttons that I made, and the 256s could be the boost gauge, but there also could be something else. So, oh shit, what is this? You know, I just want to change my boost gauge but keep all the rest. Fear not, it's not really hard to change it, because how I do this, for example, I know what ball I have. Let me check that right here. I have currently the original Psionics ball. Alright, and I have the Alpha, not the Alpha Boost, I call it Gold Rush, as the Alpha Boost actually is called. I made the Gold Rush boost gauge, and for example I have the Famey banner. It's not a Famey banner, it's my name. I have the Steam banner that I made, and also now when I use my controller and press start, you can see the square button, and when I click to options, by the way, it doesn't crash, woohoo! And click on bindings, you can see I have made PlayStation 3 buttons for when you use a PlayStation 3 controller, that emulates an Xbox controller. Normally in that case you would see the Xbox buttons, but I grew tired of them because I want to see my PlayStation buttons, and I hate the PS4 controller, and I love my PS3 controller, and therefore I made these. So I have all of this stuff in, and now I say I want to change the ball, but want to keep everything else. So the way I do this, so this is my all-in-one folder. So I only have 2 textures in that are for the ball. So what I do is I go to balls and, for example, change that up. I want the Cloud9 ball in blue now, and this also consists of 2 files. I copy them with Control-C, go back to my all-in-one folder and just paste them in and replace them. And then that way I can just remove everything, right-click on here, remove package, right-click again, update, and then drag everything back in. And look at this. We have the Cloud9 banner. There was just a little frame drop, but that should be fine. And I said Cloud9 banner, but I meant ball. But everything else is still the same. You can see the buttons, square button, the Steam thing. Everything is the same. So it looks a little bit tedious, and surely it's not optimal. I acknowledge that completely, but it's not that big of a deal, and you'll get used to this if you use it more often. Alpha console in the future will support custom textures as well, but they might not yet be able to support banners or boost gauges right now. So yeah, I mean, in the meantime, if you want to test it, you can use uMod. And if you decide you don't want to use uMod anymore altogether, then just go back to your Rocket League directory. C program files x86 Steam, steamapps, common, Rocket League, Binaries Win32, or where your Rocket League exe is located respectively, and make sure to delete the d3d9.dll. The reason this one is in here is because you pasted that in when you used uMod, when you set it all up, and if you really decide to not want to use uMod anymore, just make sure to delete this file. And the reason this might look a little bit different to what you have is because I also use Alpha Console, and there's a bunch of stuff in here as well. But the d3d9.dll is the only file in here associated with uMod, so if you don't want to use uMod anymore, just remember to delete this file so everything related to uMod is gone. And that's it. I hope this video helped you out and you want to test some textures, or maybe in the future make your own. And all in all, have fun, you guys.